Hello, this is the 21st episode of my series, The Making of a Music Video. And in it, I shall be talking about whether to sign with a label is still necessary for the independent musician. Well, things have changed in the last 10 or 20 years. And there are now only a few major labels. Labels are record companies, really, who promote artists. They're called labels because in the old days of vinyl and 78s, the 78 plastic records had a label on them telling the owner who had made the recordings and who was responsible for manufacture. So they're called labels today. But really there aren't many labels left. The three major ones, BMG, Sony and Universal, are more or less responsible for most of the signings of major artists. But there are also what are called independent labels who sign lesser-known artists and effectively give them more freedom. But the one thing both have in common is that they will be owning the rights of any work produced by the artists, and therefore they control the royalties and other payments due to the artist. And that is the problem, because it's a bit of a con-trick, really. It's not really when you sign a label that you get given a big amount of money. That money is only a loan against the costs which you might have to endure in order to make your work. For example, the recording studio time is billable against that loan. The writers who might write the songs or the producers who might produce them need to be paid, and that payment too is taken from what has been advanced to you. The promotional costs, the marketing teams and their salaries, the playola, or payo as it used to be called, given to radio stations in order for them to be incentivized to put your song out on the air. The commercial ads which the labels need to make in order to promote your work, and their staff, tour costs, producing any physical goods which they are then sold. All these costs come against that original loan or upfront payment to the artist. And often, if the artist is contracted to do more than one record, and the first record loses money because the costs exceed the outgo to the artist, then that loss is carried forward to the next. So you can end up with a massive debt. And that, of course, is not very conducive to people signing. And the idea that getting signed and becoming rich and famous, which was the old theory, is just not there anymore. So instead, these 360 deals, as they were called, instead of those kinds of deals, and the artist is often treated just like a product, which has costs and benefits, and profits go to the labels. The obvious alternative, with so much for free nowadays on the internet, is for the artists to do their own thing, to make their own label. And that's what's happening now. People stream to watch, but there's no point in putting them on these kinds of platforms when you only get a very minute amount of money for any streaming you get. Downloads seem to be diminishing now. People prefer streaming to downloading, both of which are free, of course, or can be free. And but the difficulty, of course, with things like Instagram is that it's only there for 4 days. TikTok maybe may last a fortnight, but it's brief. And people really don't know, musicians don't seem to know how to promote their music themselves. Well, it's not so difficult. It's not so difficult to collect the royalties which accrue to the artist now. First of all, to distribute your work, you could use a company like DistroKid or CD Baby. They have fixed fees and very modest ones for doing so. They will then find all the royalties due to you. But a better company, in my opinion, is Cobalt, where they give you a much more detailed breakdown of where your work is being performed or played, and they don't demand to retain the rights. So you keep the rights to your own music, which is very important, can be, over the years. So rather than go to Sony, Warner or Universal, or rather let them come to you and then sign your life away on a loan, which may turn out to be a big loss, it's far better to find your own way. The main driver at the moment is TikTok. It's free. All you need to do is to make some content and develop an audience. Streams get a lot of revenue, but the streaming is free. Instagram, hashtags, it's free. YTube is free. You can upload your videos free. Most of these social media platforms are free. It don't cost you anything. So providing you can actually create a good video, you've got every chance in the world of turning it into revenue, if that was the only objective. Of course, it may be just to let people have your music. I mean, that is a more noble objective, but in today's world, musicians are struggling to make any kind of income, and this is one way they can make quite substantial incomes. For example, take Justin Bieber. He started out by putting his stuff on YouTube. Then he got discovered, and the rest is history. And that can happen to you. So think about it. I don't think that labels nowadays are going to have a very big future. I think the future is going to be for musicians to become software experts and learn how to create their own videos, upload them to places like YouTube, and then get the benefit from that distribution and collect the collected royalties by companies like Cobalt. That's the future, the way things are going to go. So I don't think that labels are worthwhile exploring. If they come to you, be very careful about the deal terms. They don't look at you as an artist. They look at you as a product which will or will not make them a profit. And the arts goes out of the window the moment your work isn't selling. They'll drop you like a stone. So that's my take on this. The new music industry is being developed right now. Artists are learning to be software engineers almost, and that's just a part of their skills. Of course, you have to have a good product in the first place, and that will be sorted out by the number of views you get on platforms like YouTube. But the by and large take-home message is do it yourself. Music is now a DIY industry. Well, thanks for listening. See you next time.